Hulk Hogan passed away on July 24th, 2025. He lived a life that was filled with stardom, over-embellishments, union busting, and toward the end there, we all found out the guy was, to put it bluntly, he was pretty racist. I figured with it being close to a year since his passing, we would all sit down and take a look at WWE, at the time the WWF's first adventure into Hollywood, which, obviously I talked about Hulk Hogan. It stars him in the main role. By the late 1980s, Hulk Hogan was more than just a professional wrestler. He was a household name. Even if you didn't know anything about professional wrestling, you knew who Hulk Hogan was. And part of the thing that helped that was him being a role in Rocky 3. He played someone that Rocky fights in it, which obviously it's Hulk Hogan. He's going to fight Rocky. And since he starred in Rocky 3, Vince McMahon thought it would be a pretty good idea for some of his wrestlers to try and branch out and be in movies as the main role, not just supporting people. And if you know anything about that guy, he's not just going to hand off some of his biggest stars to Hollywood. Alright, he's going to want to dip his little greedy hands into the production. The film I'm talking about is No Holds Barred. It is a 1989 film that was released with the help of New Line Cinema, directed by Thomas J. Wright. The producers were Vince McMahon and what's that guy's name? Michael Rackmill. That's the other producer. Sorry, it's just hard to forget because it's so clear that Vince McMahon had a hand in this. Part of the reason that it's very clear is the writing. The original script was written by Dennis Hacken, but Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon disliked the script so much that they spent 72 hours in a hotel room together and rewrote the whole thing. And it's extremely obvious that they had a hand, because some of the things that people say in this is just not how real life people speak. The movie had a budget of $8 million, and domestically it grossed about $16 million, which is pretty good, honestly. It made back its budget, and critics obviously hated it because it's not a serious film in any type of the way. None of the WWE movies or WWF movies are serious productions. This film takes place in a fictionalized version of our world, where Hulk Hogan plays a fellow that goes by the name of Rip Thomas. That is his name in and outside of the ring. So yeah, that means his parents would have named him Rip. Why would you do that to a child? I just don't understand. Anywho, it focuses on just how far a television network will go to try and get the competition onto their network, or whatever it takes to get rid of their competition. With all this being said, my niños and niñas, say your prayers, take your vitamins, and let's take a look at how WWF's first adventure into Hollywood really went. In the movie's opening scene, we see Hulk Hogan, who, like I stated previously, is playing Rip Thomas. He is accompanied to the ring by his brother Randy, and Randy's played by Mark Pellegrino, who some of you may know from Supernatural. He played Lucifer on that. Rip is coming out here to defend his WWF championship against Jake Bullet. When I first watched the movie, I heard Jake Mullet, which is, I can't tell if that's a cooler name or a worse name than Jake Bullet. I don't know. Maybe Jake Mullet is kind of cool. Anyway, don't really matter. None of that matters at all. While the match is going on, we keep cutting to a group of executive type looking people. It's a bunch of guys wearing suits. They keep referring to Rip as the competition, and they're hoping that he loses the match so that way they lose. Like the network loses ratings, because Rip's got to be on top for them to make money, apparently. And this network cannot seem to get any viewers at all, but judging by the way they're talking, at least. Rip wins the match, obviously. He hulks up. He beats up Jake Bullet with an axe handle. That's his finish here in this movie, is an axe handle instead of the Hulk Hogan leg drop. Which, if you don't know wrestling, like, you're not really going to give a shit about that. After Hulk Hogan wins, we see these group of executives talking once again. And the main bad guy of the movie is one of these executives. He's the CEO of a television network called the World Television Network. Very original. I'm sure that Vince McMahon came up with that one. But he's played by Kurt Fuller, who, if you've watched any, like, movie in the 80s and 90s, he probably played the bad guy in one of them. He's talking about how he wants to be the best television network, and the only way to do that is to get Rip to switch sides. So he calls a meeting for for the next day. And he's like, everybody, give me your ideas. What you guys got? Because we got to get Rip over here. We have to. So, with the board meeting being called, that is the next scene that we see. Mr. Brell has called everybody here to brainstorm any type of idea to get Rip on their programming. Because he's convinced that's the golden goose. If you have him, you're good for sure. Even though they don't have a wrestling show or anything, he just wants him. Like, at no point in this do they say, oh, we have this wrestling show. He'd be awesome for it. Some lady pitches like a sitcom type show. And this is when part of the reason a lot of people don't like this movie is the misogyny. People say it's pretty misogynistic, which I can't completely disagree. It kind of is. Mr. Brell hates her idea for a sitcom so much, he tells the lady to
take a leak.
What does that even mean? In the 80s, I guess it meant you're fired. Because the lady gets up and starts crying and leaves. Another thing I forgot to point out.
Jockass. Jockass!
The insult that Mr. Brell has for Rip. He calls him a jockass. Not jackass, jockass. He calls him it throughout the entire movie. And I don't know who came up with that, but it's the most absurd insult I've ever heard. After Mr. Brell fires that lady, he's like, all right, anybody else have any ideas at all? People keep giving him some and giving him some. And he's like, no, I don't want any of that. We need Rip. We need to offer him a contract. And some guy's like, hey, he's already got a contract with the WWF. And he's like, I don't care about a contract. I want him here. Let's offer him a bunch of money. He can't refuse that. And this is when they inform us, the guy who pitched that, he's like, well, Rip's all about his word. It means the world to him. Rip, everybody knows Rip is he's filled with the most integrity of anybody ever. He's Mr. Brell. He don't care. He wants Rip. He needs him. So there was 0 point in calling this meeting because he's the one that decides what they are going to do. He's going to call Rip into his office and hand him a blank check. And that will solve all of his issues. There's 0 point in any of this.
Even Rip has his price.
That is exactly what we see next. We see Rip pulling up to the WTN headquarters, and he's being escorted to Mr. Brell's office, and he's in what appears to be Kano cosplay from Mortal Kombat. Bar for bar, he stole that fit from Kano. If not, just a generic MK Ninja, because that's what he looks like. Mr. Brell puts the check in front of him, and Rip, he's pretty much just Hulk Hogan. He hands him the check, and Rip looks at him, and he's like, no, brother, I don't want that. It's just not, I don't want that. I'm cool with where I am. Money's nothing to me. I don't want none of that. And Mr. Brell's, he's pushing him around. He's like, what? My money's not good to you, dude? You don't want this? You don't want this money? He's like, no. And so he tells him again, like, this is final offer. Take the money. And the next thing that transpires is ridiculous because Brell calls him a jockass again. Rip's not going to take any of that. So he takes the check, stuffs it in Brell's mouth, and he says,
I won't be around when this check clears.
And he storms out. A little behind the scenes for you with this scene. I'm not sure if anyone ever told Hulk Hogan that they fake stuff in movies like that. So instead of like just putting the check in his mouth, Hulk Hogan actually like covered Kurt Fuller's windpipe. And the crew had to step in and get it out so he'd be able to breathe again. Rip, after this, he storms out of the office, like I said. He gets in his limo. But limo driver appears to be taking him the wrong way, which Rip says numerous times. He's like, hey, brother, the turn's back there. Hey, man, you missed the turn. But the limo driver's not listening. He puts up that little barricade thing. And Rip can't stand this. So he immediately tries to break out of the limo, and we get one of the most ridiculous scenes of this. We get a car chase where you see Rip kicking what looks like just a hammer. Like they cut to the outside of the car, and it just looks like they're taking a hammer on the inside. Because it's like perfect circles every single time he's kicking the door. The limousine is knocking down trash cans and stuff. And eventually it arrives at a warehouse where there's, I think, like 3 or 4 dudes just sitting around waiting for the limousine to get there. They surround the limo. This is when it's revealed that apparently Rip has superpowers, because he doesn't just like kick the door down like he was trying to do. He fucking pops out of the top. Like I said, like a superhero. He pops out, starts laying into all these guys, and obviously he wins the fight because it's Hulk Hogan we're talking about here. It's a 4-on-1. He's not about to lose that. Tosses a guy through a windshield, throws some dude into some barrels or whatever. After he whoops on all those people, this is when we get the scene that this movie is best known for. And I'll just go ahead and play it right here for you guys.
What's that smell?
Yeah, it's the Dookie scene. Immediately after the Dookie scene, and I'm talking right after, we see some folks walking up to whatever the headquarters of the network that Rip works for, and he's got a new agent that he's meeting. Her name is Sam Moore, Samantha for long. She's played by Joan Severance, who was in See No Evil, Hear No Evil, the same year that this came out, which is another pretty decent movie. It's the one, it's on TikTok Shorts, or Shorts and TikTok. Flipped around in my brain. It's all the same. You've probably seen it on a vertical app.
I'm really blind, man. What are you, fucking deaf?
Yes, I'm fucking deaf.
In this scene, it is very clear that Rip has the hots for Sam, because he is just staring daggers at her. And he's not paying attention very clearly in this meeting. So he says some random stuff, and she's like, well, you can't focus? How about dinner or a meeting or something tonight? And he's like, okay. So he finessed his way to a date with this lady. She tells Rip to dress fancy. Obviously, he's going to dress extremely fancy. The dude pulls up in an all-white suit, and it's crazy looking. He is not pulling this off at all, in my opinion. They're at this French restaurant where the waiter is being super mean to him, at least Rip, being super mean to Rip, and he's talking to the lady about like quiches and whatever. Looks over to Rip, and he's like, you're not going to find the hamburger foot-long hot dog. This little waiter dude is funny to me. I love the way he says these things in French. Hamburger. While all this is going on, some people from the back are like looking at Rip, and they're like, hey, dude, what's up? Because you'd think that they're all fans, but no. Turns out Rip is a regular here. And the waiter just is a new dude who didn't know any of that. So they all come out and they're like, oh, you want the usual? And the Hulkster, he says,
Oui, bien sûr. J'ai faim.
It's just so funny to hear him speak French, even if it's 2 words. We don't get to see the Hulkster's usual at this French restaurant. What we do get to see, though, is 2 dudes headbutting each other. Turns out that this next scene is going to be all about the WTN guys. What they're doing here is trying to scout some talent. If they can't get Rip, they got to get some other wrestling type people or just some other wrestling type show. So they're here for some ideas. This place that they're at is ridiculous. They immediately walk in, and the lady who is supposedly going to be like their bartender server type thing, she walks up to him and she's like, make it sound like she has to hawk a loogie like over and over. It's ridiculous. And then she asks if they're cops, and when they say no, she goes, oh, okay, well, the gay bar's across the street. You can definitely tell this movie was made in 89. They get to their table, and above their table is a little person in a cage who I believe is like the ring keeper, like the person who rings the bell and all that. But he's like tossing peanuts in their drinks, and he's smoking on a stogie, and he just keeps laughing at the people. We can tell in this scene that Mr. Brell is having a fantastic time at this bar, watching these people who are in this makeshift wrestling ring with like tires instead of turnbuckles and stuff. He's having a great time. But his little lackey guys, they hate it here. They keep talking about how the people look and where the referee is, and he's at the bartender putting the moves on a girl. Don't worry about it, dude. You wish you were that referee. Eventually, the little lackey guys, they have to use the restroom. So one of the guys walks up to one of these tough people that's here, okay, and he says,
Excuse me, pal, but where do I go to bleed the old lizard?
there's no way that people in 89 were saying jock ass, take a leak, and bleed the lizard. Are we serious? These are just random things that Vince McMahon or Hulk Hogan came up with, surely. If Dennis Hacken came up with those lines, I don't know what else the dudes wrote for, but he shouldn't be writing anything else. So the little guys, the lackeys, they make their way over to the restroom, and in the restroom, there's a bunch of like weird graffiti and everything. Instead of urinals, they have the trough, and it's filled with piss, because why wouldn't it be? And there's a dog. There's a dog chained up in the bathroom. It takes them forever to notice him, too. I don't know why. They're going pee, and they're getting all crappy with the people there. They're talking about how crappy the bar is and how much they hate it there. And while this is happening, the guy who's like telling them how the whole thing works, his name's Bubba. He's got a huge dip in his mouth. He comes out.
What the hell was that?
Oh, God.
This is when I realized how gross the humor is in this. Because, like, don't get me wrong, a good fart joke, everybody likes a good fart joke. But this is just like pee and poop jokes. And after like the second one, it's like, all right, what are we doing here, dude? Bubba comes out of the stall, and after he makes the wettest poop noise ever, he walks up to the guys without washing his hands, puts his arms around them, and he's like, oh, what do we have here? Takes a peep down at what their equipment looks like, if you know what I'm saying. And he goes, oh, a teeny wanger. And then he looks over at the other guy, what he's rocking, and he goes, another teeny wanger. And he walks out laughing, just saying teeny wanger. So that's what I just called these guys from now on. That's the teeny wangers. Because what an insult. I mean, come on. You can't recover from that. You just can't. They have names in the movie. Not anymore, though, in my brain. That's a teeny wanger duo. It turns out, though, Brell did get his inspiration that he was looking for at this place. He announces on television,
The battle of the tough guys.
what the rules are, I don't know. But we do see some real badass guys. One dude's crushing walnuts with his bare hands. It's crazy. He's got an eye patch on, too. Which, no, I don't need one. I think it looks kind of cool. Does it go a little wonky sometimes? Yeah, but that's the charm of it. There's no rules for the Battle of the Tough Guys. It doesn't matter. All that matters is if you're a tough guy, you compete. The prize, you might be asking? He does say what the prize is. $100,000. Tax-free. Definitely not something you could do. Not even in the 80s. There's going to be taxes on it, but this guy's built different, I suppose. That's the next thing that we see is part of this tournament taking place at the same place that we just were at. And I'm pretty sure that Bubba does laugh at the teeny wangers, and he calls them that again. While the Battle of the Tough Guys is going on in this fine establishment, out of nowhere, a wall, yes, a wall, not a door, an entire wall gets knocked down. And what emerges after that wall is kicked down? Who did the kicking, you might be asking? It's a super tall jack dude with the most absurd unibrow you've ever seen, a lazy eye, and a Z on his head. That's the only thing that he has hair-wise is a Z. I don't know how I forgot to mention this, but yeah, that's Tom Tiny Lister Jr. from Friday. You know, Debo. Crazy looking. Some lady walks up, probably to ask, hey, why the hell did you do that to my wall? And he just face palms her and throws her on the ground. He's here for the Battle of the Tough Guys. He's wearing a prison jumpsuit. And he gets in the ring. He's clearing house. Nobody has a chance against this dude. While the Battle of the Tough Guys is going on, we do see that Rip and his friends are all watching it at home. And whenever this person who just kicked down a wall shows up, his coach person says, hey, I know that guy. I used to be his coach. And they're like, oh, well, why'd you stop? Turns out that guy, he killed a kid. Yeah, after a match, he just started wailing on him, lost it, and he was in jail. And judging by the jumpsuit, he just got out. Now that we know just how scary this guy is, I mean, he did come in wearing a prison jumpsuit. We probably should have assumed. Also, he kicked down a wall, an entire wall. We should have known he's going to end up being the winner of this whole thing. So, eventually, he's beating up people so bad, Mr. Brell is just like, all right, this guy clearly is the toughest guy probably in the universe. So he gets in the ring, and he's like, all right, this guy's the winner. What's your name? And that's when we find out this is makes a bit more sense why the guy has a Z shaved into the side of his head. I still don't know why he's rocking that crazy unibrow, though. The day after the Battle of the Tough Guys, the ratings are in. They got the top spot for that hour of programming out of, obviously every other television network. But they got a lot of negative telegrams in that night, too. Some little boys having nightmares. Some grandmas are just upset about the entire thing taking place. Wouldn't you know it, though, Brell obviously doesn't care. He's the bad guy in the movie. It is immediately shown, though, that they probably should have listened to those telegrams because Zeus is super unhinged. We see a scene where he's fighting a guy named Lugwrench on what appears to be a Tekken 8 stage, and he almost straight up kills the guy. Yeah, Lugwrench almost goes out for good. While Zeus is fighting, though, we see Brell and the teeny wangers up in some office watching the fight, and he gets an idea looking at Zeus fighting on how to finally get Rip to possibly be a part of his network. Now that we know what's going on with the WTN guys, we get to see what Rip and Sam are up to. Turns out they're about to go on their first business trip together. Alone. Before their business trip, though, Sam gets a call from some mysterious person, and we don't get to find out who it is until later, but you could probably take a random guess who it is if she's not letting Rip know that she just took a phone call. I'm pretty sure they go somewhere that Rip grew up, because some lady at this diner that he's taking her to is trying to put the moves on him. Like, pretty hard. She's like, oh, you need to lock him down. If I weren't married, he'd be mine. But that's not at all the most interesting thing that happens in this diner. Because almost as soon as Rip and Sam sit down, the place is held up. Rip looks at Sam. He says, when I move, hit the floor. And then right after he says that to her, I'm pretty sure another thing they added in post, he goes and picks up a bar stool and he yells, everybody hit the floor. It's just so ridiculous. This whole entire scene of him fighting off these armed robbers, by the way, it is set to All My Rowdy Friends Are Coming Over Tonight by Hank Williams Jr., which, fun song, especially when you're getting ready for a party, but it does not fit this at all. Rip's fighting off these robbers, alright, and at one point, he literally looks like he's about to take this guy's head smooth off. Like he's got his head like this. And it's like, oh my gosh. Is he really about to do it? He's going to pull the trigger? No, he doesn't. He throws pies at these guys, tosses one of them over a counter, and he saves the diner. After Rip saves the diner, I immediately thought, what even is this business trip about? It doesn't matter. We don't get to find out what the business trip is. It might have been some charity work kind of thing, because Rip keeps talking about how he loves to do charity. It doesn't matter, though, because now we're in a hotel room, and whoops, there's one bed, and Sam booked the room. Silly women, am I right? God, this fucking movie. We get an extended scene where the two of them are brushing their teeth right after they get in this hotel room, and it is just, I don't understand why it's here. It's such a long scene of both of them just brushing their teeth, and it looks like they're trying to, like, listen to each other through the wall, and it's like, what do you want to hear? You're brushing your teeth. You both know what you're doing. After the unnecessarily long teeth brushing scene, we see that Rip has separated the bed with a sheet and some ring tape that he had in his bag. They have a little heart to heart. Both of them are talking about how they can't find love. It's just so hard to when you're so busy. After their heart to heart, a scene happens that I don't know if I'm able to explain properly. You gotta watch the movie. It's just the most absurd thing that happens. Eventually the bed breaks, not by means that you are thinking, and Rip storms out. However, I will tell you, we do get this pretty funny shot of the Hulkster. With their business trip being over, we finally figure out who Sam was talking to on the phone. It was Mr. Brell. Yeah, kind of crazy, right? She's a double agent. He sent her in to be Hulk Hogan's agent, or Rip's agent. He pretty much just plays himself. I'm going to accidentally call him Hulk Hogan sometimes. Sorry. Sam doesn't want to work for Mr. Brell anymore. She loves Rip. Or maybe not love, but she cares about him. He's a generous guy, and she likes him a lot. Brell does not want to hear it, so he backhands her. And obviously, she's not going to like being backhanded, so Sam runs out. And Brell's like, oh, wait, oh, no. Dude, you just backhanded a lady. Obviously, she's not going to like that. No one's going to like being backhanded. You had a check shoved in your mouth for calling a guy a jockass. What did you think was going to happen when you backhanded someone? After she gets backhanded, she goes and tells Rip everything, how she's a double agent, and she just couldn't stand to do that to him anymore because now that she knows about him on a personal level, she just cares about him so much, she couldn't go through with it anymore. And he forgives her because he's such a nice guy. And can you really blame her for having feelings for him? Look at that amazing mustache. Look at that lack of lips. Look at those beautiful locks of hair. My goodness. Now that all is forgiven, they do a little horseplay, like just wrestling each other. And while that happens, Zeus comes on the screen. And he's calling out Rip. He wants a fight. And Rip's just like, yeah, I don't really care. He doesn't really care to fight Zeus. He barely knows who the guy is. He's not really paying attention to what the WTN guys are doing. They're not going to let Rip not care about Zeus for long. Because while he's doing some charity work, or he is in some pants that are far too revealing with children around, the WTN guys pull up via helicopter. And it's honestly pretty awesome. I mean, you're pulling up at this charity event just to, like, have a little standoff against a guy. It's the Teeny Wangers and Brell and Zeus, obviously. They all get out. And Zeus and Rip are just kind of looking at each other, having a stare off. And Brell's like, oh, Rip doesn't want to fight him. So Zeus is automatically the toughest guy in the universe. Mr. Brell makes it seem like he doesn't care because he's got Zeus now. But he clearly still does. Because now the most out-of-pocket and unnecessary scene happens in this movie. Some guy pulls up on Sam in a parking garage in the middle of the day and says, Mr. Brell says it's party time. And he attempts to her. This is a PG-13 movie, and any adult is going to realize what you're trying to say he's trying to do. It's pretty gross to me. Obviously, I said attempted because it's a Hulk Hogan action movie. So he pulls up out of nowhere wearing the craziest outfit you've ever seen. He's on a motorcycle. He somehow knows where Sam is, and he pulls up and puts the guy on like the front of his motorcycle by riding up to him and just like he plops onto it and runs him into a tree. I'm not enthusiastic about this at all because it's just gross. I don't like that this scene's in the movie. It's rubbed me the wrong way. It also doesn't help that after Hulk Hogan fends off the guy, he says the most uncaring things ever.
God, I hate it when you're hurt or scared. You know?
That last scene was so gross, I felt the need to shower and change. Let's get on to the next scene. It's time to check in on the WTN guys. But it's not exactly the WTN guys. Because Randy and his homie Craig, they're here to watch Zeus fight. It's not the Battle of the Tough Guys anymore. I have no idea why people are still signing up to fight this guy. Because, once again, he almost kills this guy. It happens in every single fight that he's in. So I don't know why people keep saying that they want to fight him. It doesn't make sense. If they're getting paid, it's not enough. But, since Zeus scared everybody away, Randy and Craig, they're also running. And who do they run into? Mr. Brell. he sees Randy's wearing a Rip shirt. And he's like, oh, we're converting Rip fans every single day, huh? And Craig's dumbass, he's like, nah, that's Rip's brother. And Brell's like, ooh, VIP, huh? I'm going to take you to meet Zeus. So he takes him to meet Zeus. And it goes about as good as you think. Randy ends up getting the shit beat out of him. Because of course he would. Randy gets beat up so hard, he ends up in a coma. I'm assuming it's a coma because Rip is at his hospital bed and he's crying, saying he's sorry to Randy and whatnot. Hulk Hogan does some pretty decent crying here, I'm not going to lie. Hate on the dude all you want, and I'll hate on him all I want. He's crying pretty good here. But Rip, he's holding his hand, and Randy squeezes it so he wakes up, and everyone pops off, obviously. But that ain't going to do it for Rip. So he storms over to Zeus's gym. He starts tearing everything apart. He's trying to find out where Zeus is, but he's nowhere to be found at all. However, he does see him in a mirror projection kind of thing, and he runs at it and it like explodes. But it obviously isn't Zeus. He got tricked by the old mirror projector trick. Brell and the teeny wangers, they've been watching from afar in a video camera, and they're laughing at him, and they're like, if you really want to fight Zeus, you got to do it on our terms. And he's like, okay, whatever, I'll fight him. But he spots the security camera right after he's like, okay, whatever. He throws a barbell at the security camera like a javelin, and it sticks in. It is crazy. Now that Rip has finally agreed to fight Zeus, Mr. Brell makes the announcement. With the announcement being made, we get to see how both of them train for the fight. Rip's way of training, he's helping Randy with his physical therapy. Pretty bang up brother, if you ask me. But Zeus is screaming and punching cinder blocks. It's a hilarious cut. After the training montage, it's finally fight night. Rip's whole gang is pulling up. Randy now appears to be crippled from the neck down because his legs are all like caved in and stuff. So that's the only conclusion I can make, is that he's paralyzed. Zeus is a monster. Right after Rip's gang makes it in the building, his girlfriend gets kidnapped. Yeah, they immediately kidnap Sam, and they call up Rip. They're like, hey, unless you want to be pushing two people around in a wheelchair, you're going to throw the fight. And you can tell that ruffles Rip's feathers. But he's going to do it. Rip is going to throw the fight because he doesn't want anything bad to happen to Sam. And it's sad. He's walking out and he looks defeated. He's carrying the WWF Championship, but it just doesn't feel the same for him, and we can tell. But Zeus comes out and he looks like fucking Shao Kahn with how amped up he is and the gear he's wearing. Because it's this crazy shoulder pad thing that he can't even take off himself. He needs assistance. Someone's behind him to take it off for him. During this fight, it looks like Rip is going to lose. Because obviously he said he's going to throw the fight. So he's not making it look good at all at the start. It kind of just looks like Zeus is just straight up winning. He's taking everything that Rip came out to the ring in, even his t-shirt. He's beating him with it. He's taking the t-shirt, beating him, title belt, beating him with it. It's pretty funny. Zeus is a good heel. You can't lie. He just is. Even though he did kill that kid way back when. Zeus isn't winning for long because eventually Sam does escape from these guys. And we get to watch her go down every single floor in an elevator. Maybe not every single floor. But it's a long time that she's going down this elevator. They did not need to show us this much of it. It looks like she's going to get captured again once she does go to leave the elevator. But out of nowhere, Rip's coach comes in with a fucking fire extinguisher. And he starts beating on the dudes that are trying to take Sam. They go over to where Rip is fighting. And he sees her. He gets pretty hype. And then he also sees Randy does a little hand tremble. And that gets him even more excited. Because, again, pretty sure that we're supposed to think that Randy's paralyzed. Not 100%, but it seems like that. So Rip hulks up. Obviously, he's Hulk Hogan. He's going back and forth with Zeus, back and forth. He hits him with his double axe handle. Still not enough to take Zeus down. So Zeus gets up. They're battling over to where Mr. Brell is. Zeus knocks down Randy. And all these people who, for some reason, are wearing suits and ball gowns. Like this is some sort of fancy event and not just a pro wrestling match. Well, I guess this isn't pro wrestling. This is real.
It's still real to me, damn it!
People in the ball gowns and stuff, they get really upset because he just knocked down a paralyzed kid. What the hell? They battle all the way up to Mr. Brell's little lookout area. Mr. Brell's getting upset because Zeus is losing. He's tearing out a bunch of electrical cords and whatnot. It's like, dude, what are you doing? You could be ending the broadcast by what you're doing, but he doesn't care. He's throwing a little hissy fit. Obviously, Rip eventually gets the one-up on Zeus. He hits him with a double axe handle, throwing him over this banister thing. And I think he kills him. We see blood coming out of Zeus's mouth. Also, he caved the ring in. So I'm pretty sure that he just killed Zeus. Not super cool. Everyone's still popping off, though, like they didn't just watch a guy die. After Zeus has finally been defeated, it's time to focus on taking out the real villain, Mr. Brell. Rip's walking over to him. He's snarling, making those weird animal noises he has been this entire movie. But Brell, he's so scared, he walks backwards into one of the exposed wires that he tore up. And he dies. He electrocutes himself. Yeah, that's how the main bad guy goes out in this movie. What's a proper way to say this on YouTube? Self-deletion? I'll go with that. Yeah, that's how the movie ends. Rip's hyped up. He goes down. Everyone's popping off. They love that they watched two people just die. And looks like Randy's able to walk now. Can't tell if he's being supported or if he's just doing that on his own. Either way. What the hell? How's he able to do that? That's the biggest plot hole in this. Is Randy paralyzed or not? It doesn't matter though. Rip does his little like I love you and peace sign thing. I think that's that. And the movie ends. That's No Holds Barred. WWF's first adventure into Hollywood. Let me know what you guys think of it. I do think you should check it out because it's available for free on YouTube with ads, obviously. That's how I watched it. It's obviously not a great movie. Like I stated at the start of this, none of the WWE movies are tremendous works of art. But this one gives you a couple good laughs. There are some parts in it where you're like, ugh, especially that one scene in the parking garage. Absolutely does not need to happen. But it's pretty good. If you made it this far into the video, comment Dookie. And let me know what you think of the movie. Like and subscribe. Don't leave. Oh, you leaving?